Welcome to another Side Quest podcast, a detour worth taking. Okay, so I have a question, and I want you to really sit with this.
Oh no.
What genre is Full Metal Alchemist?
Oh, that's wild. Action. Adventure. Obviously.
Okay, but also, it's shonen, and it's got political drama, and there's body horror, and grief, and family trauma, and...
Okay, stop. Are you trying to break my brain before the episode even starts?
Not me sitting here like, a little bit, yeah, because that's literally the thing. Anime has so many genres that one show can be like 5 of them at once, and nobody bats an eye.
It's genuinely unhinged when you think about it. Like, the genre system for anime is just, it's a pile. It's a beautiful, chaotic pile.
It's a pile with a Wikipedia page and strong opinions.
Hold on. Which is the most anime sentence ever said?
Today we're getting into it. Why are there so many anime genres? Which ones actually dominate? And, honestly, does any of it even matter when you're trying to find your next obsession?
The answer is yes, and also no, and also it depends, and we'll explain.
I said what I said. Perfect. Let's go.
So just to set the table here, when people say anime genres, they usually mean one of two very different things, and they don't realize it.
Oh, this is such a good point.
Wait, there's the demographic labels. Shonen, shojo, seinen, josei, which are basically about who the original manga or source was marketed to in Japan. And then there are the genres, like the actual content descriptors. Action, romance, horror, isekai.
And both of those get lumped together under the word genre, and it creates so much confusion. I remember when I first got into anime, I thought shonen meant action. That was it in my head. Shonen equals punching.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Like, why do I relate to this so much? It's not entirely wrong. But then someone handed me Hikaru no Go and was like, this is shonen. And I was like, there's no punching. The protagonist is playing board games.
And he's crying about a ghost.
And I loved it. But I had to completely rewire my brain about what shonen even meant.
That's what I'm saying. That rewire is like a rite of passage, honestly.
100%. All right, so let's actually break down the demographic side first, because I think it's the piece people skip over and then get confused later.
Okay, no. Yes. Okay. So in Japan, manga and anime have historically been categorized by the magazine or publisher they run in, which targets a specific age group and gender demographic. Shonen, young boys. Shojo, young girls. Seinen, adult men. Josei, adult women.
And these labels come directly from the Japanese words for those groups. Shonen literally just means youth or boy. Shojo means young girl. They're not describing the story, they're describing the assumed original audience.
Which is why it gets wild. Because Death Note, shonen. It ran in Weekly Shonen Jump.
This is embarrassing, but Death Note is shonen. A psychological thriller about a guy using a supernatural notebook to execute criminals is technically in the same demographic category as Naruto.
Same magazine. At the same time. Running side by side.
Every time I say that out loud, it still gets me. Like, Naruto is doing the believe it thing, and right next to it, Light Yagami is becoming a god-complex murder notebook person.
Bro, Weekly Shonen Jump just said yes to both and kept it moving.
Legends.
Now here's where seinen and josei get interesting, though. Seinen covers such a massive tonal range. You've got Berserk, which is brutal dark fantasy. And you've got Mushishi, which is quiet, meditative, almost like a nature documentary about spirits. Both seinen.
I'm not even gonna lie, Mushishi is honestly one of the most calming things I've ever watched in my life. And then Berserk exists.
They are on opposite ends of the emotional universe, and they share a demographic label.
So the demographic label is kind of like, it tells you who is supposed to buy the magazine. It doesn't really tell you what the vibe is going to be.
I'm sorry, what? Exactly. It's provenance, not prescription.
Ooh, that's a good sentence. Write that down.
I'm noting it. Okay, but then on top of all that, you have the actual content genres. And this is where the pile gets truly gloriously out of hand.
Okay. The pile. We keep coming back to the pile.
Because it is a pile. You've got action, adventure, romance, slice of life, horror, mecha, isekai, sports, mystery, psychological, historical, fantasy, sci-fi, ecchi, harem, magical girl, and those are just the ones I remember off the top of my head.
And they stack. They all stack on each other. A show can be a shonen, isekai, action, comedy, with romance elements and a philosophical undertone, and that is a completely normal Tuesday for anime fans.
Nope. It's not just normal, it's expected. If an anime only has one genre, it almost feels like it's missing something.
Like, you'd describe it to someone and go, it's just action. And they'd be like, that's it?
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
Bro, same though. Do you need more anime in your diet? Okay, so now we get into the fun part. Which genres are actually the most popular? Like, if you look at what's dominating streaming, what's getting the most fan engagement? What's moving merchandise? What's on top?
Shonen action is the undisputed king, and honestly, it's not even close. Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia. These are some of the biggest entertainment franchises on the planet. Not just anime, the planet.
No, but honestly, Demon Slayer had a movie, Mugen Train, that became one of the highest-grossing films in Japanese box office history. For a second, it was sitting above Spirited Away. Anime fans were not calm about that.
We were not calm. I was not calm. I texted people I hadn't talked to in months.
The chaos that caused.
Oh, that's wild. But here's the thing about shonen action's dominance. Part of why it works so well is that it's engineered for investment. Long arcs, power systems, rivalries, training montages, found family. It gives you so many things to care about over a long period of time.
It's the long game. One Piece has been running since 1997, and people are still showing up. Generations of people. There are adults right now who started One Piece as kids and are still watching it with their actual children.
That is either beautiful or terrifying, depending on how you feel about commitment.
Not me sitting here like, bit of both, honestly.
Now close behind shonen action and growing fast is isekai. And isekai is fascinating because it's this relatively specific subgenre premise. Person gets transported to another world, usually with special powers, usually has to figure out how to navigate a fantasy setting. And it has just completely exploded.
There was a point, I want to say like 2018 through 2021, where it felt like every single season had like 6 new isekai shows. We were swimming in isekai.
Hold on. Drowning.
Lovingly drowning.
ReZero, Overlord, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Sword Art Online, Konosuba, and those are just the ones that hit big. There were dozens that didn't.
I said what I said. Konosuba is so funny to me because it is technically an isekai, but the main character is completely useless and mostly complains about everything, and it's one of the best comedies in the genre.
It's an isekai parody that accidentally became one of the most beloved isekai. The irony is incredible.
Anime doing what anime does.
Now, romance and slice of life. I want to group these together for a second because they serve a really different audience need than shonen or isekai.
Yeah, totally. Like, these are the cozy genres. You put these on when you want to feel something soft.
Exactly. And they've built enormous dedicated fan bases. Your Weather with You, Your Lie in April, Toradora, Clannad. These titles make people weep. Full sobbing, uncontrollable.
Like, why do I relate to this so much? I will not speak about Clannad on this podcast without proper emotional preparation. I need at least a week of notice.
Noted. We'll schedule a grief counselor.
Please.
That's what I'm saying. But Slice of Life especially has this incredible calming quality. K-On!, No Non-Biori, Laid Back Camp. These are shows where the plot is essentially, things are okay. That's it. Things are okay, and here are some people being nice to each other.
And that hits different depending on where you are in life. Sometimes you do not want stakes. You want laid-back camp and a blanket.
Laid Back Camp is medically therapeutic. I'm almost certain.
No, but honestly, I believe it. Okay, what about mecha? Because mecha is one of the most historically important anime genres, but it feels like it's kind of shifted in the cultural conversation.
Okay, yes, this is interesting. Mecha is foundational. Gundam, Evangelion, Macross, Code Geass, these are pillars. Without mecha, you don't have modern anime as a concept. Evangelion especially just redefined what the medium could do.
Evangelion walked so that our collective psychological damage could run.
Oh, that's wild. That is an incredibly accurate description of what Evangelion did to people.
Thank you. I worked on it.
But mainstream mecha has quieted down a little compared to its peak. It still has devoted fans, big releases still happen, but it doesn't dominate seasonal charts the way it used to. Darling in the Franxx tried to reignite it and got complicated reviews.
Not me sitting here like, complicated reviews is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
It is. It really is.
And then there's horror and psychological thriller, which I feel like have a really passionate niche audience.
Hold on. Super passionate. And some of those titles cross over huge. Monster, Paranoia Agent, Serial Experiments Lane, Higurashi. These are shows that get talked about for decades.
Monster especially. Monster is one of those shows that people just quietly recommend to each other like a secret. Like someone will just lean over and go, "Have you watched Monster?" and disappear.
It's a 74-episode psychological mystery thriller set in Germany, and it is...
I said what I said. Perfect. It's just perfect.
It's so good. Naoki Urasawa is a genius, and if you haven't read or watched Monster, consider this your sign.
That's a free recommendation in the middle of the episode. No extra charge.
Wait. So here's the thing that I keep coming back to when we talk about all these genres. Does it actually help you find something to watch? Like, is knowing the genre system actually useful for a newcomer?
Okay, this is the question I have complicated feelings about.
Let's hear the feelings.
Like, why do I relate to this so much? So, on one hand, yes, obviously. If someone tells me they loved Breaking Bad, I'm probably not sending them to a slice of life high school comedy. I'm pointing them toward psychological thriller or dark seinen. The genre labels are a compass.
Right. They give you a starting direction.
But on the other hand, and this is where I think anime genuinely differs from Western film and TV, some of the best anime experiences happen when a show defies its genre label so completely that the genre stops mattering.
Oh, for sure. Puella Magi Madoka Magica. Sold as a magical girl show. Felt like a magical girl show. And then episode 3 happened, and it was never a comfortable magical girl show again.
I will never forget watching that episode for the first time. I had no warning. I was completely unprepared.
Nobody warns you. That's part of the experience.
No, but honestly, it's like a tradition at this point. You cannot warn people about Madoka. You have to let them find out.
It's a rite of passage we pass down through generations.
Anime seniors just silently watching newcomers queue up Madoka like, yes, soon.
Oh, that's wild. But this is the thing. That subversion only works because you set up the genre expectation first. The genre is the setup. The show is the punchline.
That's actually a really smart way to put it. The genre creates the expectation, and then the show decides what it wants to do with that expectation. Sometimes it delivers. Sometimes it flips it entirely. And both can be incredible.
And I think that's why the genre landscape in anime feels so much bigger and messier than in Western film. Because the medium has been running continuously at massive scale for decades, there's just been more time and more output to develop microgenres and subgenres and sub-subgenres.
Not me sitting here like, isekai alone has subgenres now. There's isekai where the protagonist is overpowered, there's isekai where they're not, there's reverse isekai where the fantasy character comes to our world, there's isekai reincarnation where you're born into the world as a baby.
Wait, there's a whole genre where you are a baby.
You keep your adult memories. You are a baby who remembers being an adult. That's the whole thing.
Hold on. That is either really charming or deeply unsettling.
Somehow both. Anime keeps doing that.
It really does keep doing that.
I said what I said. But I think the broader takeaway is the genre system in anime is a tool, not a rule. It's a suggestion. It's a starting point that the medium constantly undermines and expands and questions. And that's kind of what makes it exciting.
And honestly, that's why the fandom is so alive. Because there's always something that doesn't fit neatly. There's always something to argue about. Is Evangelion mecha, or is it psychological horror set in mecha aesthetics?
Both. Neither. Yes. All of the above.
Wait. Correct answer every time.
I think the thing I'd say to someone who's new to anime and feeling overwhelmed by all these labels, don't try to learn the whole map before you start exploring. Just pick something that sounds interesting and start walking. The map makes more sense once you've already visited a few places.
That's genuinely good advice, and I hate that I didn't say it first.
Like, why do I relate to this so much? Write it down.
I'm writing it down.
And honestly, the community around anime is so good at recommendations. You tell someone what you liked, and they will send you 12 things to watch next. The genre knowledge lives in the people.
That's what I'm saying. For real. Every anime fan has a personal genre map in their head that took years to build, and they will share it with you at any moment. Ask one question in any anime space and brace yourself.
You will receive a dissertation within minutes.
Lovingly. It'll be sent lovingly.
No, but honestly, always lovingly. That's the thing. The passion in this fandom is real, and it's generous. And genres are honestly just the vocabulary that lets all those passionate people communicate with each other.
Yeah, the genre system is a shared language. And like all languages, it's messy, and it changes, and it means slightly different things to different people. But that's what makes it alive.
That's what makes it worth learning.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, that was almost profound.
Almost. Let's not push it.
Agreed.
Okay, before we wrap, recommendation time. Sky, you want to take this one?
I got it. All right. If you want a show that absolutely refuses to be pinned down by any single genre, watch Gintama. It's a sci-fi historical comedy set in an alternate Edo period Japan, where aliens have taken over and a lazy samurai runs an odd jobs business. It parodies basically every other anime that exists. Shonen, mecha, romance, you name it, while also somehow delivering some of the most emotionally gutting serious arcs you'll ever watch. It is genuinely one of a kind, and there is nothing else like it. 4.5 out of 5 stars. The early episodes are a slow build, but once it locks in hard.
Gintama is legitimately one of those I can't explain it, just trust me shows. Just trust Sky on this one.
Hold on. Trust the process.
All right, today we covered why anime has so many genres, the difference between demographic labels and content genres, which genres are dominating right now, and why the best anime experiences sometimes happen when a show blows its own genre up.
And we almost said something profound.
I said what I said. Almost. That's the goal every week. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave us a comment, tell us your favorite anime genre, or the show that broke your genre expectations completely. We want to know.
Drop it below. We read everything.
Thanks for taking the detour with us. We'll see you on the next side quest.
Wait, later!